Scorpio rising sign and Scorpio ascendant in astrology. Your Scorpio ascendant, or rising sign, reveals the ways in which you present yourself to others, as well as the ways in which you immediately respond to the world around you. As such, it describes the ways in which we project ourselves out into the environment as well as the kinds of experiences we need to have in order to make life meaningful. The combination of Sun, Moon and Ascendant describe what you want, Sun, what you need, Moon, and the style in which you will go about getting it, Ascendant. Planetary ruler, Pluto and Mars. Born with Scorpio on your Ascendant, or rising, you are likely to experience life as a constant series of obstacles or crises in which you learn about the nature of power through transformation. Whilst this may seem challenging, once understood in terms of a life lesson, you have the potential to be an inspirational and catalytic individual. Your strength and insight gives you the ability to change your own life and help others overcome whatever is holding them back. On the one hand, this is a difficult ascendant. On the other, it offers you a magnetic and charismatic quality that makes you fascinating to others and deeply perceptive. There is much in the experience of Scorpio rising that involves learning to transform yourself and others through episodes of conflict, challenge and subsequent letting go. For a well-rounded picture, the qualities of your sun sign and house, as well as your moon sign must of course be considered as well. Finding the light within. When your ascendant is Scorpio, a confrontation with that which is dark, hidden, destructive and taboo in your own nature is often required. Despite your best intentions, you may need to deal with negative, toxic and obsessive emotional states that seem to plague you. Such destructive qualities need to be internally transformed by being acknowledged, accepted and brought into the light. You may also meet the same qualities in others. You could find yourself confronting darkness in the outside world through facing extreme situations, or attracting negativity to yourself. Whilst your nature is inherently good, you are learning to experience both the positive and negative aspects of life. Through overcoming difficult situations you find your strength and light. The eighth labor of Hercules. The themes which present with this sign on the ascendant can be described by the mythic tale of Hercules battling the much-feared Hydra, a demonic creature of the underworld with 10 heads and a deadly bite. The eighth labor of Hercules tells the story of how he overcame the beast. Victory required submission rather than brute force. Every time Hercules cut one head off, another would appear. To overcome the Hydra, Hercules had to follow the guidance of his teacher. We rise by kneeling, we conquer by surrendering, and we gain by giving up. This experience could be described as the quintessential lesson for those with Scorpio rising, the curse of jealousy. Jealousy is often an issue, especially in the early part of life. You may find yourself envious of others' apparent power, beauty or success, with no rational explanation as to why. This destructive emotion can alienate you from others, generating friction that needs to be released. Envy pulls you down and can trigger a nasty backlash. If not released, resentment and associated feelings fester within, rearing their ugly heads at inopportune times with a powerful and destructive force. Internal pressure slowly builds until an explosion occurs. Just like the Hydra, toxic emotions can only be conquered through submission. This means letting go of negativity and aligning yourself with something greater than your personal desires. Humility and self-acceptance is required. You may find yourself oscillating between hopeful and hopeless responses to your feelings and external stimuli. You can unconsciously create dramatic events in your life which trigger catalytic personal experiences as you discover more about your true self. Sometimes, situations of disability and impairment come about, so that the fear of helplessness or restriction is materialized. These challenges then become the opportunity for you to experience surrender, learning eventually to open up and trust others. Private and sensitive. Private by nature, you are likely to give very little away about yourself until you know who you can trust. Others may not be sure of your true intentions. They may find you somewhat inscrutable, mysterious or just hard to read. You are likely to play your cards very close to your chest. Rather than being secretive, you are self-protective. Your acute sensitivity to environmental influences means you try to avoid exposing yourself and feeling vulnerable in any way. For you, letting others know how sensitive you really are means giving them a kind of power you are not sure you want to give. You are often extremely aware of the underlying emotional currents surrounding you. This sign is extremely perceptive. You can easily pick up on another's mood, and will sense how they feel, sometimes before they do. You will also have a knack for exposing hidden intentions, and will need to dig deep to uncover the underlying psychological motives in any important situation with which you are involved. You will also be aware of others' potential to be deceptive, abusive and less than truthful, and so you can be at times disarmingly honest. Most often, your preferred form of attack is defense, and so you keep yourself to yourself. You are generally quite content therefore to wait while others reveal who they truly are to you. Careful in relationship. With a warm and passionate heart, you are likely to respond intensely to significant relationships, and it will be especially important for you to find a partner you can trust. You do best with calm, placid yet strong lovers who are able to withstand the intensity of your emotional reactions, and your need to work them out through others. When you have committed your heart to someone, you are loyal, giving and devoted. You need someone who is stable enough to ride any emotional storms and patient enough to give you the security you need. In many ways you might take an all-or-nothing stance with affairs of the heart. You need time to get to know someone, so won't be inclined to rush in. Even if you do form a connection quickly, you will probably withhold parts of yourself. You need to know your partner is all in before you can trust them. Or you could try avoid intimacy because it means you have to let your guard down. For this reason, you can be hard to get close to, as your self-protective mechanisms are very strong. This can mean you end up remaining on your own, leaving others feeling uncertain as to where you stand but safely at a distance. The fires of transformation. Once the necessary transformations have come about, you then become a powerful catalyst or agent for change in your own and others' lives. You have the ability to renew and rebuild your life, and can show others how to do the same. Negative states can be transformed and redirected through internal processes. A creative outlet, some form of therapy, a mystical experience or an intense sexual exchange can serve as the means to refine these energies. As you let go of pain and open up to light, you find strength and wisdom within. You are likely to have a penetrating kind of insight that makes you a valued confidant and friend. You have great compassion for others, but will not suffer fools. You are also likely to be patient, persevering and reliable, and can be a source of strength in times of need. Your desire for truth means you may sometimes have to employ shock tactics to instigate change. Usually this is not to be upsetting, but rather because you know sometimes you have to say the things that others will not in order to shake up the status quo. Your highly developed emotional intelligence can make you privy to others' secrets. When you share vulnerabilities with others, you also learn to let go of your own fear of being overwhelmed. Your ascendant is Scorpio, the gift of Scorpio rising. Yours is an intense rising sign, with the potential to experience great rewards. You have come to learn the secrets of resurrection and rebirth through experiencing transformation in certain areas of your life. Once you learn the techniques of inner growth by finding your power within, you then have the capacity to become an incredible force for change. A spiritual interpretation of Scorpio rising. You have already taken a few steps on the spiritual path, and you have dedicated your life to your spiritual nature to some degree. The intense desire nature within you continues, however, to pull you toward the physical expression. You constantly find yourself at a turning point between pursuing a material desire and following a more spiritual inclination. You have the capacity for major changes in your life. Others may find your decisions remarkable, as you can take a 180-degree turn with relative ease. Each of these major shifts brings you closer to understanding the unfolding plan of your spiritual life. At this time you may appear to be motivated only by material desires, but each turning takes you further on the spiritual path. If you look back, you can see that your decisions have all blended into one direction. You see the logical unfolding of spirit woven into seemingly disjointed actions and decisions. First, you test your physical appetites with food, sexual desire and physical comfort. These may become rather boring. Ambition and the desire for power increase the emotional thrill and the momentary payoff. At the third stage, you tackle mental challenges of spiritual pride. If you can transcend all three levels, you then function from a more spiritual base. You cease to seek physical, emotional, and mental thrills for their own sake, and use your personal power to transform your own life and to help others. You face a tall order if you are to make spiritual progress. You need to remember your own beginnings as you seek success in any of your endeavors, spiritual or otherwise. Scorpio Ascendant from the COSMO Natal Report. You are very strong-willed and proud, but intensely private and not easy to know well. Behind your quiet exterior lies a great deal of emotional depth, sensitivity, complexity, and also fierce determination. When you want something, you go after it rather quietly but insistently and wholeheartedly, and you usually get it. You are not a person who lives lightly or superficially. You want to live passionately and intensely and are not averse to challenge, danger, or to facing the darker side of life, human pain and struggle. You function well in crisis situations and often seek them out, for you enjoy the feeling of living at full capacity. You are very intuitive about other people and especially about their unspoken feelings and hidden motives. You usually have strong, immediate gut reactions, either positive or negative, which prove to be correct. You approach life very instinctively and are not always fully conscious of why you feel or act as you do. You also have a very strong affinity with animals, an acute sensitivity and a nonverbal kind of rapport with them. In relation to others, you are rather cautious, sometimes even suspicious, until you get to know and trust them, and trust doesn't come easily to you. When you commit yourself emotionally to someone, be it friend or lover, you are intensely loyal and devoted to them, and you also expect the same kind of unwavering, undying loyalty in return. If you are ever betrayed by someone you care deeply for, you are capable of hating and retaliating with as much fervor as you once loved. Nothing is done halfway. In fact, you are intensely involved and often jealously attached to whatever you care about, be it person, idea, or cause. There is definitely a streak of emotional fanaticism in you. Because of your natural reserve, others may see you as something of an enigma. You are quite self-protective and often defensive. You are also very magnetic and attractive.